hope you're not traumatizing yourselves by watching reels of buildings falling down in Turkey. It's pretty tragic, but try not to watch it over and over again.
I can't watch it at all.
Because you can't stand to watch it, or because you don't have access to it?
Because I can't stand it.
Yeah, I know. It's yeah, it is. It's really, it's quite traumatic. And on top of it, it's cold there. So that's difficult. But I saw one sweet thing today. Was one young man was, he was caught under the rubble with his family, and he sent out a message to his friends on social media, and they came and found him. Oh, that was pretty cool. So they got him out, and his brother and sister and mother and father, and I think they were still trying to find the uncles. So I was very happy to hear, you do hear some really extraordinary stories. And then I saw this video of so many people coming together. I was just having a conversation with Judith about it. It takes a disaster. There's no politics. Everyone just gets up. They send their teams out. So Mexico's on the way. Taiwan's on the way. Los Angeles firefighters are on the way. And they're sending all their search dogs. They're all going with them. All these different dogs of different shapes and sizes. They're so sweet, that they're all going over there to help. So it's kind of, help is on the way. But it's interesting. And it's not really safe for those people either. It's not safe for the first responders. Well, they're not first responders anymore, but it's not particularly safe for them because the ground is very unstable. But anyway, so we'll think about all those people tonight as we do our meditation, and maybe if you have seen any video footage of people stuck under the rubble, you can maybe just bring, if you have a memory of their face, you can bring their face to your mind, think of them. There's been children and babies. Someone was just telling me a story about a baby who they pulled out of the rubble that was still attached to its umbilical cord. It had just been born. So there's some really extraordinary stories like that. Amazing. And there was one baby in Nepal during the earthquake there. It survived 3 days in this pile of dust. So they don't know how that one survived. So it's just the human spirit. All right. So let's just, and then as I said, maybe if you remember someone, their face on the whatever mode you've been watching, whether it's your phone or your iPad or your computer or your television, if you have a face in your memory, maybe you can just imagine those people, that person coming, sitting beside you and doing this meditation with you, this purification practice. Other than that, we can also imagine we're sending them light and love and support. It must be an absolute hell to be stuck underneath a pile of rubble in the freezing cold. So let's just start settling into your meditation posture and just check your whole body from your feet all the way up. And then just when you get to the spine, just lengthen your spine. Imagine it's a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. You can imagine someone's above you, very gently, just lengthening your spine. Just has a little piece of string there pulling you. Your head is very slightly tipped forward and the eyes are down. Relax the jaw. And bring your awareness to the crown of your head. And just relax your scalp and the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the area around your mouth. And then the back of the head, the base of the skull. Just let that go and then notice how that immediately affects your face. Relax your ears, the inner ear, the temples, back of the tongue. Just release the jaw. And then just relax the back of the neck. Maybe just move it from side to side, give it a stretch. Allow your shoulder blades to drop down. Your shoulders. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly. And your hands and limbs and fingers. Feet and toes. And bring the mind to the breath. Just noticing the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. These sensations are really quite subtle. And then just be aware if there's any sounds in your environment. What's your mind doing about them? So are you following the sounds with your mind? And if you are, just allow them to be there, allow them to exist without you having to investigate. And then bring the mind back to the breath and just, again, notice the inhalation and exhalation of your breath. And check what thoughts are arising this evening. Does it relate to anything that happened today? And then whatever's arising, first of all, remember that it's okay, however it is you're showing up. And then try not to get involved with the stories. Just let them flow, and without criticism or opinions or engagement. Just sit back like a scientific observer and just watch. It's good to know what's in our mind. You can observe with curiosity. Oh, look at that, didn't know that was there. It's really good to be aware of what's in the mind. You don't want it to catch you unaware, take you by surprise. As Venerable Rabina says, we don't attend to our car when we're on the freeway at 80 miles per hour and the wheels are falling off. So it's good to see what's there and observe it. And also be kind to ourselves in that whole process, and, rejoicing that you are actually having great courage in looking inside. Sometimes these places are not places one wants to go unsupervised. It was very brave to go in there. I rejoice for that. So let's bring to mind all the people of our life. So we'll start again with our loved ones, our children and spouses. And then the ones, friends and our good buddies, the ones we really love and care about. And then there are those ones who, we find a little bit difficult. And then there's our strangers. And of course, our attention right now is drawn towards Turkey and Syria and the surrounding countries. And many of those people, of course, we see them under the rubble in the images and in the newsreels. And we feel badly for them. But what if that was your child? What if that was your spouse, your lover, your mother, your father, your sister, your best friend under there? You would be on alert right now, wanting to know where they are, how they are they okay, are they warm? It would be a totally different experience and what we are thinking now. I'm not saying that we should be overly involved in people that we don't know, but just notice the difference. We are unequal in our concern. It's interesting because this friend, this enemy, and this stranger could change place at any time, any moment. And then what happens to your mind when the one you love the most becomes the one that you wish would just go away? All of a sudden everything changes, doesn't it? So one way to help to develop equanimity is to remember that everybody's equal in their wish to be happy and their wish to be free from suffering. Constantly looking for happiness, never finding it, constantly running away from suffering, always running into it. And in having this incredible capacity for this enlightened mind. So we'll do this practice of purification this evening for all these people of our life and by extension, all the sentient beings. Thinking particularly of these people that are caught up in this earthquake. That's all the people who are helping, the firefighters, the rescue teams, the volunteers, the families, people under the rubble, people who have passed away, politicians and the government who are trying to keep it all together. So, and imagine, and it's cold there. So many people without a home right now. So as I see them all on the television, I'm like, well, where on earth are you staying tonight? What are you eating? Where are you going to the bathroom? So we can think like that and try and develop some compassion and just wish that we can do this practice for all these people as well. So there is no negativity that cannot be purified, and this purification process is basically a psychological one. So we're creating negativity with our mind, so we can change that by creating positivity with our mind instead. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And given that we don't really want that, actually, it makes sense that we would pull these karmic seeds out before they ripen as future suffering. So think, I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret our delusions, our anger and attachment, and all the rest of the cause of why we harm others. And think, oh, okay, I'm sick of this suffering. Then whom can I turn to? What can I do about it? So here we come to refuge, power of reliance. It has two parts, refuge and compassion, developing compassion. So we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, actually, rather than a higher power that's going to take all our problems away or is going to forgive us. So we're purifying ourselves by relying upon Vajrasattva's methods. So you can imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is your teacher, your trusted mentor, spiritual guide, manifesting in this aspect for your benefit. And he's made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful, radiant white face. His eyes are long and peaceful, shaped like lotus petals. They're full of love and compassion for you and all those folks. There's no critical thoughts. His mouth is red and very sweet. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this is symbolizing enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us. So you can just bring them to mind. Think of someone you've harmed. Think of someone who's harmed you. Particularly for these people, develop a sense of compassion, because the harm they've done to you will manifest as suffering for them sometime in the future. So we make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these sentient beings, thinking, I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of remedy. This is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters the crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you have done to any sentient being with your body is completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And so next is a purification of speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart, and it arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you can just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and useless speech and lying, talking badly about others behind their backs, and imagine that all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Patita Tita Mibola Sutokaya Mibola Supokaya Mibola Anarakta Mibola Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tita Mibola Sutokaya Mibola Supokaya Mibola Anarakta Mibola Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tita Mibola Sutokaya Mibola Supokaya Mibola Anarakta Mibola Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Bala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tita Mibola Sutokaya Mibola Supokaya Mibola Anarakta Mibola Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tita Mibola Sutokaya Mibola Supokaya Mibola Anarakta Mibola Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tita Mibola Sutokaya Mibola Supokaya Mibola Anarakta Mibola Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tita Mibola Sutokaya Mibola Supokaya Mibola Anarakta Mibola Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. So next is the purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you switch on a light, the light instantly dispels the darkness. So the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your depression and attachment and grasping and neediness and jealousies and wanting and not feeling enough, grudges and bitterness, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tita Mibola Sutokaya Mibola Supokaya Mibola Anarakta Mibola Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tita Mibola Sutokaya Mibola Supokaya Mibola Anarakta Mibola Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tita Mibola Sutokaya Mibola Supokaya Mibola Anarakta Mibola Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Tita Mibola Sutokaya Mibola Supokaya Mibola Anarakta Mibola Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa supokaya mebawa. Anarakta mebawa sawasiti mepiyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa supokaya mebawa. Anarakta mebawa sawasiti mempiyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa supokaya mebawa. Anarakta mebawa sawasiti mempiyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of your suffering, for all of us, and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, you just imagine they're all totally gone. And now think there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next we purify even the subtlest imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. So imagine again, light from Vajrasattva's heart comes around and enters your crown and fills you completely and eradicates even these subtle imprints of negative energy from your mind stream as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa supokaya mebawa. Anarakta mebawa sawasiti mempiyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa supokaya mebawa. Anarakta mebawa sawasiti mempiyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa supokaya mebawa. Anarakta mebawa sawasiti mempiyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa supokaya mebawa. Anarakta mebawa sawasiti mempiyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa supokaya mebawa. Anarakta mebawa sawasiti mempiyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa supokaya mebawa. Anarakta mebawa sawasiti mempiyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida mebawa sutokaya mebawa supokaya mebawa. Anarakta mebawa sawasiti mempiyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. So now feel completely purified. Not one atom of negativity is left in your mind stream, and even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So now we come to the power of resolve, and this is the fourth step, the final step in the purification process. And it's quite crucial, this determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind, because without this determination, we're not going to make any changes. We won't move forward. We won't be able to get on top of our habits. So we just decide, this is what I'm going to do. And be realistic. It's not going to happen overnight. And we start working humbly with things that we are able to tackle. We gradually get to those harder things. But try not to give yourself a hard time because you haven't been able to conquer the hard habits, the difficult habits, the ones we've been doing for maybe many lifetimes. So we just start with something simple and then rejoice when we kind of get through that step. So Vajrasattva is delighted with us, wanting to merge with your mind, melts into light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my Guru's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. So we can meditate a little bit on emptiness. I think maybe that things don't exist from their own side. Just think it as simply as that. And then think maybe the way things are appearing to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, the positive energy you've created doing this purification to all living beings, particularly all those people in Turkey and Syria. And think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And for His Holiness, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for LAMA YESHE. Tup shu chang shin jam gan Galloway, Tenzin kyang pelaway kunzo dog porze. Chog sum gur way leg mon to drup. Pa dag sog dulaje gondu jab ten shog. And for Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us in intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request. O Lama, please, please live long. Beloved teacher, leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path, you are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. Okay, everybody. Lots of love. Sleep well. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night. Take care until then. And sweet dreams. Okay, everybody. Night, night.
Lots of love. Good night.